Hello everyone, happy Tuesday and welcome to another episode of Tuesday Live at 5. This is Lena Gersa from Cambridge, Ontario, Canada, and I am a Stampin' Up demonstrator in, I think I already said Cambridge. Sorry, I am not with it today. Lots going on. And I am super excited to share with you today these awesome projects featuring the Heirloom Woven Threads Suite. It includes a bundle of products, some DSP, some awesome embellishment. So I'm going to show you these projects, and I'm also going to give you some sneak peeks from the new holiday catalog. Hi Margie, how are you? Hope your day is getting better. So we're going to get right to it, but before I do, I'm just going to show you the suite of products in the catalog. It's one of the very first things you see. So once you get past the bundles index in the catalog, you will find the Woven Thread Suite. It's on pages 12, 13, and 14 in the catalog. And it has some beautiful soft imagery. Now this is the suite that features all of the new in colors for this year. So I'm going to be using several of those colors today, so you're going to get to see them. The suite includes sort of, again, it's showpiece or centerpiece of the suite is the bundle with the stamp set, dies, and embossing folders, and I'll show you those in a minute. The DSP, some fun sequins, and some beautiful trim. So I'm going to show you those just now. Let me get this out of the way. So first of all, let me show you, let's get the projects out of the way too, just for a minute. So first of all, here is our stamp set, okay? The stamp set has some awesome texture images and some beautiful sentiments with lovely fonts, which are, I don't know, I think these are lovely. Prayers and heartfelt sympathy are with you and your family. Sympathy cards are never easy to make, but this is just a lovely sentiment and a lovely font. Hi Giselle, how are you? Hi Irene. All right, so then we also have, as part of the suite, these dies and coordinating embossing folders. So these come all together. You can't buy just the dies or just the embossing folders. They come as a bundle. And we have a rectangular die and coordinating embossing folder. And then we have the oval die and coordinating embossing folder. And I'm going to give you some tips for using those in a couple of minutes once we get to the cards. Okay, so that's the bundle. Then of course we have the DSP, which I am almost out of, so I can't show you that right now, but we're going to use some of it on our projects. We also have these beautiful sequins, and I am going to use those on a shaker card that we're going to make in a little bit. And then we have this cool trim, and I'm actually going to use it in sort of an unconventional way in a few minutes as well. So those are the products in the suite. Today we are going to make 3 projects that use products from the suite, but also use some new holiday catalog products. I'm going to give you some sneaky peekies of some things that you're going to be able to purchase as of September 4th. Okay, so we're going to start with this card. I'm going to set the other 2 out of the way. Grab my little basket of goodies here. All right, so I started with the DSP. So when I was trying to design my card, I immediately went to the Terracotta Tile because it is, for me, this is a fall color. Hi Debbie, how are you? So this piece of DSP from the suite, it has sort of an argyle pattern on the back and then just sort of a linen look on the other side. And that's the side that I decided to start with. So we're going to start with that. I'm just going to move these little bits out of the way. And I should also talk for a minute about our frames. So when I cut my rectangular frame, so I just cut this from a piece of early Espresso cardstock, ran it through my Big Shot. So you're going to cut your frame first, okay? This is really important. You do not want to emboss and then cut, okay? Does anybody know what'll happen if you do that? If you're going to say you will squish your embossing, you are right, okay? So you're going to cut first. Then you're going to take your frame and you're going to insert it into the embossing folder. And you're going to take your time to line it up. So what I do is I open my embossing folder. You'll see the Stampin' Up logo is on top, okay? And I center my frame inside the folder. So I'm looking at the embossed image and I'm centering that frame around it, okay? And then carefully close my folder and run it through my Big Shot. Okay, once I do that, this is what I end up with, which is just gorgeous. Now, it's pretty as it is, but because I'm me and I I like things to be extra pretty. I'm going to take some gold metallic ink. So in the holiday catalog, there is a new gold metallic ink. This is actually the old metallic ink that we used to carry. I never got rid of it. I'm waiting for my new stuff to come, but I can still use it and get the same look. So all I'm doing is taking a sponge dauber and some of that gold ink, and I'm just lightly brushing the front of my embossed frame, and that's going to distress it a little bit, but it's also going to bring out that embossed pattern, and it just makes it so pretty. So you'll notice I'm rubbing, I'm not dabbing with my dauber, okay? I'm kind of rubbing in a circular motion. You don't want to dab, you will not get the look you want. In order to catch that raised embossed pattern, you have to move your dauber over the pattern. You can't just pounce up and down on top of it, if that makes any sense. Okay, so there we go. There is our burnished frame. So we'll get that out of the way. Now, when I go to stamp, I want to make sure that I'm stamping my sentiment in a way that is going to be, when I put my frame on, it's going to be centered on my DSP. Okay, so this DSP is cut to 5 1/4 by 4 inches, and I'm going to center my frame on the DSP, and then I'm going to take my stamp and stamp inside of it. Okay, that's just so that I can get it where I want it when I go to put my frame on. Okay, so I'm going to ink up my Thinking of You with Early Espresso ink, and I'm going to attempt to stamp it straight. Not bad. And that's that. Okay, that's almost all the stamping there is on this project. The only other little bit of stamping I did was just adding a little bit of texture in behind where I'm going to put my little arrangement here. So this is another image from the stamp set. It's kind of a, I don't know, it's just a texture stamp, really. I think that's why I love this stamp set so much, because I love texture images. So I'm going to stamp off once, and then I'm just going to stamp a couple of times with that image just to add a little bit of texture, so that when I put my frame on, actually I'm going to do a little bit more. When I put my frame on and arrange my leaves, that's going to get hidden. I can see that peeking out from behind the leaves a little bit. Okay. All right. Now we get to do the fun part. I love floral arranging. I don't know about you, but it is something that I have always really liked to do. And I love being able to arrange die cut pieces like flowers. So there are a ton of dies in the holiday catalog that cut all kinds of fun little leaves and sprigs. So the centerpiece, or sort of the showcase of this card, are these beautiful leaves. So these are cut using a new set of dies called Gathered Leaves. And you'll see that they cut, can you see that embossed pattern? I think you can. They cut and emboss at the same time. One time through the Big Shot, and they do both, which is just awesome. Now, a tip, I'm actually going to be featuring this bundle in September, but a tip for these is to spritz or just brush your Aqua Painter over your cardstock before you run it through, and you will get a much better embossed image. Okay, alrighty. Now I'm going to go ahead and arrange my leaves. So my leaves are going to end up here in the corner, okay, of my frame, but I'm going to go ahead and adhere them. So all I'm going to do is just take and add a little bit of fast fuse to the back of my blue leaf, which is the one that's going to be on top, and then I'm going to arrange my gold and my, so this is Pretty Peacock. I should probably tell you my color scheme here. Pretty Peacock, Mary Merlot, and this is gold foil. Okay. Then I have these awesome little sprigs. Both these little branches and these little sort of wheat sheaves are cut using the new all-around Wreath dies. Okay, those are extra little bits that are included in that die set. And to adhere these, I'm going to use some glue dots. Now you want to be really careful when you're picking these up, because these things are so delicate, they will tear. Okay, so you just want to use some care. So I'm thinking about where I want these to go, right? I kind of want them to go at right angles to each other. So we'll put another one down here. Okay, so that's going to sit on my frame like that. And then I'm going to add my pretty golden wheat sheaves. They are going to just sort of tuck in behind my little branches here. This one I think I might actually put on top. I'll just have it peeking out from behind my Merlot leaf there. There we go. Okay, now you'll notice, I don't know if you noticed, maybe you didn't. Hi Deneen, how are you? These little tufts that are peeking out from behind my leaves. So I'm going to show you how I did that. So I'm going to bring in, this is that really cool, it looks like almost the fringe on a carpet or on a pair of drapes. So it comes so that this edge is stitched, okay? It makes it easy, and it's easy to put on projects that way. But you can pull out this end thread, watch this. If I pull that out, then I get cool little tassels. Aren't they fun? So all I did to create my little tufts is I cut one of the little tassels off. Come here. My scissors need to be sharpened. My goodness, these are my good scissors. Somebody's been using them for paper. And then I took and put a glue dot on the back of my leaf where I want to put a tuft. So we'll tuck one right in here. That one fell apart because I couldn't cut it properly. Let's try that again. There we go. That's better. So there's my little tuft. And I'm going to just pop that in behind my leaf and then just sort of spread it out. Isn't that cute? I love that little bit of texture that adds. So we'll do another one. Maybe we'll do one up here. So we'll trim off another little tassel there. And this guy is going to tuck right in there and kind of spread him out. And we'll do one more down the bottom, glue dots. Put one down here. One more little tassel. And we'll put it right down here. There we go. I love that little bit of texture that adds. It's just a really subtle little thing, but it's just a cool little something extra. Okay, so now I'm ready to go ahead and adhere my frame. My frame is going to get adhered with dimensionals. Hello, Anne. How are you today? So I use dimensionals because I don't want to squish the shape of my frame. The frame, when you pull it out of the embossing folder, has some nice beveling to it. And if I glue this flat onto my card, I will lose that. So by using the dimensionals, it kind of keeps that beveled look on my frame. So I'm going to go ahead and attempt to adhere this centered and straight on my card. It's not bad. Just like that. Okay. And then these little guys are just going to tuck on here. And again, I'm going to use a couple of dimensionals. I'm actually going to put them on the frame this time, just to make it easier to position these. So they're going to go right about there, just like that. Okay, now I'm ready to glue this onto my card base. Here I have a piece of Terracotta Tile cardstock. It's cut to 5.5 by 8.5 inches, scored in the middle at 4 1/4. So I'm going to fold in half along my score line. Oh, forgot my bone folder today. I have to use my thumbnail. And then I'm going to add a little bit of fast fuse or whatever adhesive you prefer. And pop this onto the front of my card. Just like that. And then our last little touch is to add another little bit. Thank you, Linda. I'm glad you like it. Add a little bit of this new Cajun Craze linen thread. So this is part of the Gather Together suite in the new holiday catalog. It comes in a bundle with some beautiful Crumb Cake ribbon. And this is just, I love this for fall, right? It's just the perfect fall color, and it's a great sort of rough, rustic texture. So I'm going to tie a double bow. So I'm going to fold my twine in half, my thread in half. Okay, I've got way more here than I need, so I'm going to actually shorten that up just a little bit. Okay, so I've got a double length. I'm going to make a loop in my right hand with a tail. I'm going to take it in my left hand, pull it around and through. And that makes my easy peasy twine double bow. Okay, so again, whenever you're making a double bow, you want to make one of the loops a little bit smaller than the other. That accentuates the fact that it's a double bow. And then I will trim my ends. And the other thing that I like to do is make one of the tails a little bit shorter than the other. That kind of accentuates the fact that it's a double bow as well. And to adhere this to my card, I'm just going to take a glue dot, press the knot of my bow into it, and then just adhere it at the base of the leaf right there. Isn't that pretty? Really simple, but a lovely sympathy card. On the inside of my sample, I added a very vanilla panel, and I stamped that beautiful sympathy sentiment. Prayers and heartfelt sympathy are with you and your family. I also added a couple of little flourishes, which are also from the stamp set in the Pretty Peacock. Okay, all right, that one is done. Thanks, Laura. I love the color combo too. I love fall. Fall is my season. It has all my favorite colors. My husband and I got married in the fall, and there was a reason for that because I love fall color. And yeah, I cannot get enough of fall. I could make fall cards all year long. I'd be a happy girl. All right, next up, we are going to do a fun fold. So if you like that color combo, Laura, you will like this one as well. It's very similar. Hi, Judy. How are you doing? How's the weather up in Wawa? So this is a double Z fold. It's a little bit different. Normally a double Z fold you will see in a landscape layout, but this is a portrait layout. So I'm going to show you how to put this together. It stands up. You can probably see the two Zs, right? One Z, two Zs. And you can make this middle panel as wide or as narrow as you'd like when you're doing this. Okay, so I'm going to show you how to put that together. Let me pull in my basket of goodies. All right, dump out all my bits and bobs here. Okay, so here I have my card base, okay? This is a piece of Crumb Cake cardstock. It is 5.5 by 8.5, so it's exactly the same size as the base for our last card, okay? It is scored in the middle at 4.5 inches. However, it's also scored in the middle of that top panel at 2 1/8 inches. So 4.5 and 2 1/8, okay? So what I'm going to do then is fold in half along the score line, just like I normally would. I really should have brought my bone folder over here. And then I'm going to take that extra score line and fold it back upon itself, like that. Okay, so now that is going to create my first Z. Can you see that? Okay, so before we do anything else, we are going to do some stamping. So here I have my panels. These are the panels that are going to go on my background or my card base, okay? So there's one that's going to go here, and then these two are going to go here. All right, but before we adhere them, we're going to do a little bit of stamping on them, add a bit extra texture. So first of all, I have this texture stamp that is from the Woven Heirlooms stamp set. And I'm going to take some Terracotta Tile ink. So this is the same color as the DSP. And I'm just going to stamp some really subtle texture. Okay, so I'm going to just come on here, then I'm going to do one stamped off, and I might do another one here. I'll do one full strength. I will do one up here stamped off. So I'm just adding some extra texture to my card. Okay, so there's that one, and then I'll do the same thing with these panels, the smaller ones. Oops, we'll do this end here. And I'm not worrying about getting a super fantastic image with any of these, okay? I'm just adding really subtle texture. Oops, let's do that one again. There we go. And we'll just do there, and maybe there. There we go. Okay, really simple and quick. All right, next I'm going to bring in my leaf stamp. So this is from a new stamp set that coordinates with those leaf dies. So the leaves that the dies that I used to cut these leaves out, and the same ones that I used on the last card, come in a bundle with the stamp set that has this beautiful maple leaf in it. So I'm going to take and ink up that leaf, and I'm going to stamp it twice on my smaller panel, sort of once at the top and once at the bottom. And I'm stamping these full strength. Okay. And then I'm going to add it a couple more times on my larger piece. I'll probably do, I don't know, 4 maybe. There we go. Okay. All right, so far so good. One last little bit of texture that we're going to add. This little spatter stamp, I'm not sure if it shows up all that well on the camera, you'll see it when I stamp it in a minute, is included in the same stamp set. I love spatter stamps because they add just really cool, subtle texture. Now, the way this stamp is shaped, it actually fits quite nicely around the maple leaf. They're kind of shaped in a V, so it makes it really easy to kind of get in around the leaf. So I'm just stamping with some Crumb Cake cardstock, or Crumb Cake ink rather, just all the way around each one of the leaves that I stamped. And again, that's just adding some subtle interest and texture to my background. It's really important to remember that DSP is paper too, and it's okay to stamp on it. A lot of us forget that DSP is just as worthy of being stamped upon as cardstock. And sometimes you can get really cool effects, especially with a DSP like this one that has a really subtle pattern. You can add some really interesting texture by stamping right on top of it. So I'm almost done here. We're gonna go around this one and here and there. Okay, there we go. Oh, actually, before I forget, while I still have that stamp out, I have a little label here. I use my tailored tag punch for something other than making a banner end. You should be proud of me. So then I'm going to just take and add a little bit of texture to my tailored tag punch here. That's going to form part of my focal image there. There we go. All right. We'll put that away. We'll put that, set that stamp aside. All right. Okay, now we are going to finish assembling our card base rather. So here I have, this piece is cut to 4 by 5 1/4 inches, okay, and it's going to get layered right onto that largest panel of my card base. So we'll just add a bit of glue real quick. And we'll pop that right on there. Just like that. Okay, now these guys are going to go on the smaller panels. Okay, so you can decide which way you want them to go. I think I'm actually going to have this one on the inside. I like that better. So when you go to glue these on, you want to make sure that the edges line up. Okay, so this edge I want to be lined up with the edge on the larger panel, just to make sure that it doesn't look a little bit odd there. Okay, and then the last one. Now, just so you know, I will put these measurements in the description, but these are cut to 1 7/8 by 5 1/4. Okay, 1 7/8 by 5 1/4. If you are wanting to try to replicate this card, I will put all of the measurements in the description after I'm done. Okay, so there is our background. So far, so good. All right, now I have another piece of Crumb Cake cardstock. This is cut to 2 inches wide by 8 1/2, so it is the same length as my card base. And you'll notice that I don't know, maybe you won't notice, I have score lines in exactly the same places. So it's scored at 4 1/4 and 2 1/8. I should do it this way, 4 1/4 and 2 1/8. Okay, so again, I'm going to fold in half along that score line, and then I'm going to fold it back on itself. Okay, and the way this is going to work is I'm going to go ahead and glue this onto the front of my card. So I have my shorter panel here and my long panel on top for the smaller piece. I have my bigger panel on the bottom and my shorter panel is on top for the background. Okay, so it's going to get glued right on there. So what I'm going to do is actually put my adhesive here. Come on, work with me, fast views. And here. Okay, so I've just kind of laid it right across the front of the card. And then I'm going to use my grid lines to make sure I get this on straight. And I'm just going to lay it right across. Whoop, don't stick yet, don't stick yet, don't stick yet, you. There we go. Stick that right down. Okay, and there's my Z fold. Okay, really easy. So whenever you're assembling fun folds, it is best if you can try to assemble it the way it's going to be folded flat. Okay, and then you can go ahead and play around with it and make sure that you've got things nice and square. Okay, so now we're going to decorate our center strip here. So here I have a piece of same DSP, different pattern, that is cut to 4 inches by 1 3/4. So it's going to get glued on the front just like that. We'll just use a bit of Tombow. I have a fresh bottle of Tombow. It doesn't happen very often. Okay, and then we have the 2 smaller panels. These are cut to 1 7/8 by 1 3/4. Okay, they're almost square, but not quite. So we're going to pop these on. And again, we want to center them on the panel. And we want to try and get them, I should have done the middle one first, but that's okay. Just to make sure that they all kind of line up. The nice thing about Tombow is it gives you that wiggle time if you need to adjust. There we go. Okay. Hi, Sandy. How are you? How are things are you in Wisconsin? I can't remember. I think you're in Wisconsin. How are you doing? All right, so there we go. Isn't that cute? All right, now we're ready to decorate. So I have more of these awesome leaves. Okay, so again, these are cut using the new Gathered Leaves dies, which will be available September 4th. In the holiday catalog. Now, if you can't wait that long, you can certainly join my team and order your holiday catalog stuff like today, if you wanted to. Ask me about that. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and again do a little bit of arranging. So I'm going to put a little bit of fast fuse on the end of my label here. And now it's just a matter of arranging these beautiful leaves. So I'm going to add a blue and a red, so Pretty Peacock and Merry Merlot. I think I need to add just a teensy bit more glue there. We'll pop a glue dot in behind that leaf just to make sure it stays flat. There we go. And then on this side, I did a little bit more glue here. I did a Merry Merlot leaf and a terracotta tile. Let's add another little bit of glue onto that guy just to make sure he stays put. Okay, so that's going to be our focal point, but I have some of these adorable little, I think these remind me of like sheaves of grain, right? That like, it looks like wheat sheaves to me. So again, I'm going to just take and pop a couple sort of peeking out from behind my leaves here. To me, this is just so fall. All these little sprigs and bits and bobs. I love them. I could sit and play with these little die cuts all day long. In fact, I have been this week. It's been really fun. This is my favorite time of year. August is my favorite month because I'm not working. Well, I'm not working at school. I'm working my Stampin' Up business, but I'm not working at school. And I have time to play with all of these beautiful new holiday catalog products. All right, so that is ready to pop onto the front of my card. I'm going to glue that on flat. So I'm just going to put a little bit of fast fuse right on here. Minnesota, I knew you were somewhere close by to Canada, not too far. Not close to me, but close to Canada. So I'm going to pop that on there, okay? And then I'm going to stamp my sentiment. So this is from the Woven Heirloom stamp set, okay? It says, thank you so much. And I need my early espresso ink, which is in, where did I put it? Oh, there it is. It's hiding under my basket of goodies. I'm going to stamp it just on this little scrap of Very Vanilla cardstock. And then I'm going to use my classic label. Is that what this one's called? I think it is. And I'm going to just pop it right out of there. So I'm going to center that in there and pop it out. And then this is going to go onto the front of my card with some mini dimensionals. Mini dimensionals are the perfect size for this little label. So we'll put a couple on the back there. And we're going to just pop this onto the front of our card and center it on my little label there. And then I have a bow that I've already tied. I'll give you a bow tying lesson in a minute on the next card. This is the 1/8 braided linen trim, and I'm just going to pop that onto the front like that. Now I also, because this card is designed to stand up and I wanted to have something in the background. I have a few more leaves that I'm going to add just onto the background piece here. So I'm going to add a maple leaf and another maple leaf, and this one I'm going to put on with a dimensional. We'll just pop this guy right on here like that. Okay, now the last touch, and this is one of my favorite things to do. You've seen me do it with Wink of Stella before, but this time I'm going to do it with the gold metallic ink. I'm going to give it a little bit of a flicky treatment. So here I have an Aqua Painter. Hi Wendy, how are you? Thanks so much for sharing. So this is my Aqua Painter. I'm just going to pick up a little bit of ink from my gold metallic pad, and now I'm going to take and flick all over the front of my card, actually really all over my card. I want to make sure I get those leaves. I love the look of the metallic spatter. Now there are other ways that you can get this look, but this is really easy and not too messy. You might get a little bit of spatter on your work surface, but it is worth it. You probably won't be able to see that until it dries, but trust me, it is a great look. I don't know if you can see it. Can you see the little gold metallic on my sample? Can you see the spatter on there? I don't know if that shows. Oh yeah, you can see it. Okay, on the back of this is my sample. I added a panel, so I had a place to write a greeting. Okay, thanks Wendy. So you could do that. You could also, if you wanted to, put a panel on the inside here to write a greeting. I kind of like the front of my card when I do these double Z folds to be clean. So I like to put my, my panel to write on the back. Okay. All right. So that's that one done. Now we're going to make a shaker card. Are you ready? I love me some shaker cards. Let's get this out of the way, this out of the way, and we're going to bring in our last card. All right, saving the best for last. We're going kind of chronologically through the seasons. Okay, so fall is over and it's time for Christmas. Woohoo! All right, so this is a shaker card that I made. I thought it would be a lovely, actually did this as a Christmas card. Okay, it says wishing you a day of love and joy, and then on the inside it just says celebrate the season. So it doesn't necessarily have to be Christmas. It could also be a lovely card for a winter wedding. How lovely would that be, right? Saying, I have some friends that got married on the 30th of December. So this would be a beautiful card for a wedding or an anniversary. So I'm going to show you how to put this together. It's really easy. So we'll dump out all our little bits here. So here is my oval frame. I've already die cut and embossed it just in the interest of time. And on this one, just like I did on the last one, I'm going to add a little bit of gilding with some silver metallic ink. So I'm going to take my dauber, and just like I did on the last one, I'm going to kind of go around, and you're going to see that embossed pattern just pop. And I just love that look. It's very hard for me to use these dies and embossing folders without sponging the pattern, because I just love the pattern so much. I think it's really pretty when it pops like that. All right. And I'm not being really careful about trying to be even, right? I'm just gilding it a little bit. Okay. Just like that. Oh, thanks, Giselle. You like the shaker card? I love it too. All right. Now, in order to create a shaker, you have to have, you're creating a pocket, right, for whatever your insides are going to be. So you need to use a window sheet, okay? So we sell window sheets in the annual catalog. I have die cut this using the largest oval from the Layering Ovals dies, okay? And what I'm going to do is glue this to the back side of my frame. It fits quite nicely to create sort of my front window for my shaker. So the easiest way to do this is to just take a little bit of Tombow, and I'm going all the way around my frame. You want to make sure that this is going to be secure, right? Because if it's not, you're going to have your shaker bits falling out of your card. So I put my Tombow on, I've got my window sheet. I'm just going to lay that oval right over top of my bead of glue and just tap it into place, and then I'm going to set it aside and let it set. Okay, we're going to work on some other things. Okay, set that down. So here I have another oval. This is the same size as the window sheet one. This is cut from Whisper White cardstock, and this is going to form the inside of my window. So I'm going to stamp my sentiment on this using Pretty Peacock ink. So this is the Wishing You a Day of Love and Joy. Now when I stamp this, because I'm going to have sort of an arrangement on the left side, I'm going to stamp it a little bit to the right. Okay, so I'm going to stamp it a little bit over, not perfectly centered. And we'll get that out of the way. Okay, so now that I've got that on there, now I'm going to bring in my foam strip. So these we also sell in the catalog, and I can't tell you how many people I have pulled these out in a class to make a shaker card, and they have been shocked and amazed not knowing that we carried these. These make shaker cards such a breeze because they give you the height that you need, and they're sticky. They're like extra thick dimensionals. So they come in strips, which makes them easy to manipulate. So I'm going to peel off one strip, and I'm going to apply a strip all the way around the outside edge of my white oval. Okay, so I'm following that outside edge. I don't want to come in any farther. I'm going right along the edge. Okay, and like really they're easy peasy to apply. And I don't have quite enough length. It's just a teensy bit short. That's okay. Got a little bit here that I can snip off. And we will add this little bit in here. And we'll trim off the excess. Okay, so you want to make sure your ends, whenever you're joining, you want to make sure they butt right up against each other. Okay, you don't want to have a gap. Why is that? Because we don't want our shaker bits to fall out, right? Okay, so we'll get that out of the way. And now I'm ready to take off my backing and add my sequins. Where did I put my sequins? Here they are. Get my frame ready. So I'm going to just make sure this is pressed into place. The backing peels off really easily. It's just like a dimensional backing. So you're going to peel it off all the way around and peel off that little bit that I added. And then I'm going to add my sequins. Now you want to be really careful when you dump these in that you don't get them on the sticky strip, right? So when we do that, we're going to dump them carefully. And also, word to the wise, don't put too many in. On my sample, I got a little overzealous with my sequins, and you can't really read the sentiment all that well. So don't make the same mistake. All right, so there are my sequins. I'm just going to flatten them out a little bit so that they are not taller than my foam strip. And then it's just simply a matter of centering my frame over top of my sequins. Now this is really hard to do when I'm not looking at it straight, but we're gonna hope and pray that this works. Okay, so I'm just gonna take and just adhere that into place, and look at that. There's my shaker. Oh, and I didn't do too many this time. I can actually read my sentiment. Okay, isn't that easy? Super easy. All right, now it's just a matter of assembling our card. So again, I have a piece of Pretty Peacock cardstock. It's cut to 5.5 by 8.5 inches. It's scored in the middle at 4 1/4. So I'm going to fold in half along my score line. Pretend I have a bone folder. And then I have another piece of that beautiful Woven Threads DSP. This is the Pretty Peacock sort of medallion pattern. It is cut to 4 inches by 5 1/4. So again, I'm going to add some adhesive and center that on my cardstock, or my card base rather. Okay. Now I'm ready to go ahead and glue my frame on. Okay, so it's going to get glued right in the middle of that card base. The easiest way to do this is to use a little bit of Tombow on my backing. And then what I usually do is I take a little bit of the foam strips just to put along the edges. So it's just so my frame doesn't get squished. So I just add a little bit here because it's the same height as my shaker window. Okay, and that just keeps it from getting crushed in the envelope. So we'll get rid of those backings. And then we will center this, right side up preferably, on the front of our card. Right about there. It's hard to see if my sentiment is straight because my sequins are all in the wrong spot, but that's okay. There we go. Okay, there we go. All right, now is the fun part. Now we get to do our floral arranging again. Okay, so here here's another little holiday catalog sneaky peeky for you. We have a new set of dies called Beautiful Boughs, and they cut these beautiful, it's aptly named, pine branch images. Okay, there are several, I think there's 3 or 4 pine branch dies. Some are, one is a large one that cuts, it has 4 or 5 little sprigs on it. And they are just beautiful. I've already used it a ton because I love adding them as accents. It's like creating your own embellishments on your cards, right? So I'm going to do, again, a little bit of arranging. So I'm going to take this 3-1 and I'm actually going to cut one of them off, and I like to have it kind of this way. So I'm going to put a glue dot on here, and then I'm going to adhere my little branches there, and then I'm going to add another glue dot and another one on the back of my branch, and that is going to go right there on my frame. Okay, then I have another one of those beautiful little sprigs, these little twig sort of die cuts that are cut with the all around wreath, and I'm going to tuck that just in behind there like that. Okay, and then I have a couple of more pine boughs here, so we'll add a glue dot. And I'm actually going to trim that one off just a bit. We'll add this one here, and that's going to get layered right over the first one. So we'll put that there, and we're going to add a couple of glue dots to the back of these guys. Sometimes you have to roll your glue dot a little bit because they're a little bit big. We don't want them peeking out the back. We'll add that there, just like that. Okay. And then we have, oh, forgot my other little blue sprig here. These are Seaside Spray cardstock, in case you're wondering. Hi Claire, how are you? Hi Jen, how are you? Thanks for stopping by. We're going to add another little sprig there. Okay, so here we have some pine cones. So these are the plain dies that are designed to cut out the stamped pine cone image that is included in the coordinating stamp set. But then we have these detailed dies that are the same size that you can layer over top. So that's what we're going to do. So I have added some multi-purpose adhesive sheets to the back of these. I know we don't carry them anymore, but I have been hoarding them because for detailed dies like this, they are the bomb. So I'm just going to adhere my detailed silver pine cone over top of the plain peacock one. And then same thing with the smaller one. Let's see if all my bits come off. Oh, most of them did. There we go. And we'll just line this one up. Yeah, I really miss the multi-purpose adhesive sheets. Anybody else with me? Hi Paula, how are you doing? So now we're going to go ahead and layer these. So we will glue dot one on top of the other. I like putting the smaller one on top. And then these are going to go on. I'm actually going to put a dimensional right here. And actually, you know what? I'm going to tuck a mini dimensional, actually maybe even a big one, in underneath my frame because it is a little bit squished on this end. So your take your pick tool, if the dimensionals don't stick to your fingers, is your best friend for tucking glue dots and dimensionals in when you've already adhered something to your card. Okay, it's a great little tip there. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and adhere my pine cones, just like that. And then the last touch on this card is a pretty bow. So this is new ribbon that is coming in the holiday catalog. It is Seaside Spray, but it's got silver metallic threads woven through it. It is so pretty. I love this ribbon. It's super easy to tie. It's only a 1/4 inch wide, which makes really cute little bows for cards. So here is your weekly bow tying lesson. Okay, so I am holding my ribbon between my index and middle fingers. I'm going to pinch with my thumb and index to make 2 loops. Okay, I'm keeping my ribbon flat. I'm not letting it twist. I'm going to take my left loop, overlap the right one, and then bring it around and through and pull. And there is an instant bow. So easy. Bow tying is a breeze. Really and truly. All right, so now I'm going to trim off my ends, get my ribbon roll out of the way, and press the knot of my bow into a glue dot. And then just adhere that right to the top of my pine cones, just like that. Isn't that a pretty card? So pretty. Love shaker cards. This would be a beautiful wedding or anniversary or Christmas card, depending on what you do on the inside. Okay, so again, there's what I did on the inside of the sample. This sentiment is from the new Itty Bitty Christmas stamp set, which is also in the new holiday catalog. And then these little flourishes are from the Woven Heirlooms stamp set. So the sentiment is stamped in Pretty Peacock, and then these guys are stamped in Seaside Spray. Okay, easy peasy. Hope you like those cards. This is a beautiful suite, and I find it complements so many other products in the catalog and in the new holiday, as you've seen, that it's kind of a must-have. It really, really is. I'm just going to pull in all three projects again, so you can see them one last time. But this is just one of those suites that has so much possibility. Okay, there you go. Thanks everybody for joining me today. I hope you have a great week. Next week, there will be no Tuesday Live at 5. I'm actually taking a couple of days off to go up and see my parents. They live up on a lake in Northern Ontario. So I haven't seen them actually. I haven't been up to their place since my dad was sick last fall. So I am quite excited to spend a couple of days just resting and relaxing by the lake before I head back to school. So no Live at 5 next week. But the following week, I will be back both Tuesday and Wednesday. Wednesday will be my live holiday catalog launch on launch day. So watch for details about that on my page. Okay? Thanks, everybody. Have a great week, and we'll see you on September 3rd. Bye for now.